Hello and welcome to lesson 5 in programming microcontrollers, in which we are going to be looking at servos. Now, servos come in all sorts of different shapes and sizes, mostly similar shapes. So basically we have a mini servo, we've got a standard size servo, we've got a standard size servo but comes in much more powerful torque so it can lift heavier things, to much larger servos, and they will keep on growing. Now all servos are basically the same. They have 3 wires. One is the signal to tell it how far to rotate, and the other 2 are the power connectors. So they are quite simple to work with. So let's start taking a look. So I'm going to go straight into Tinkercad. I'm going to create a new circuit. I'm going to drag an Arduino on. I'm going to look for a servo. And then the temptation might now be is to hook up our wires straight to the signal, straight to ground, and then straight to 5 volts. That is not a good thing. Many Arduinos have died to bring us this information, and not just Arduinos but ESPs and ESP32s as well. So I'm going to undo this. I'm going to bring this servo up to the top and rotate it around to make it easier for me. Let's get rid of that. I'm going to bring a breadboard on. So what I'm now going to do is just move these around a little bit to make a bit more workspace. I'm going to connect pin 3, because pin 3 is a PWM, so I should be able to use this for pulse width modulation, which I may explain in a future video, but right now it's just what makes servos work. So I'm going to move this across to just sort of here. Doesn't really matter what pin I'm going to. I've gone to column 17. Again, doesn't make a big difference. I'm going to make that orange to tie in with this signal. In fact, I'm going to pull that down one, and I can now hook up that to there. There's no real reason for this. I could do a direct connection. It's just going to make it a bit easier for me. I'm going to move that down a little bit, again for no good reason. I'm now going to hook up ground straight to this ground wire. I know they're crossing over. Yes, it will always look a little bit messy. I'm sure some of you can make a much neater job. And then so now we've now got a ground connect, I've got the orange. So now we need volts. Now, like I've said, if you try and drive a servo direct from the Arduino, you are likely to burn out your Arduino. So don't do it. What we're going to do is look for some batteries. So if I bring a battery pack on, I can say I want 4 AA batteries. Most servos tend to be quite happy on approximately 6 volts, whether it's these little ones or even the big ones. They say 6 volts to 8.4 volts. So you can generally get away with about 4 AAs. So if I just bring on these 4 AA batteries, I'm going to connect the negative straight to there. I'm going to connect the positive to this rail. Again, starting to look a little bit messy, but we'll have to deal with that for the moment. Now, to get into good habits, if you're going to do this for real, I do recommend having a switch between your batteries. So I'm going to do that now, just in case we're not sure how to do it. So if I just drag a switch to there, again I'm going to make sure that is black, so it's the ground. I'm just going to put this switch down to here. So this will obviously make and break the circuit powering the servos up. So what's going to happen now is these 6 volts we can now connect directly to our power, again making that red, and I can connect the ground rail to there. So now we've got the battery pack. The battery pack is going to power the servo, whereas the Arduino is just sharing the same ground, so it is still completing the circuit, but it means this has got its own power and the servo's got its own power. It's just the ground rail that's shared. So now that's how we can wire it. So let's go into some code. Yep, so now we're in the code. Obviously I can get rid of all of this because we are not lighting the LED on and off. And we are going to use a library. So in this library we are going to include the servo.h. This is going to basically give us all the code that will send it a signal, and we don't have to worry about how that signal works. We can just make sure we can just use it for our benefit without having to worry about all the sort of the low-level computer science part of it. So I'm just going to create a servo, which I'm going to call servo 1. Oops, with a semicolon. Can we zoom? Yeah, I can zoom out in a little bit. Inside our setup, I'm going to just put servo1.attach. Now this is the bit where we're telling it what pin are we attached to. So let's have another look. We are attaching to pin 3, and I've used pin 3 because pin 3 has got this little tilde mark on it, meaning this is a pulse width modulation pin. On Arduino, sorry, in Tinkercad, we can use pin 2 as well. I need to verify that for real on the real Arduino, but I'll just stick with pin 3. So I can just go attach to pin 3. So now servo 1 is on pin 3. I can now just go servo 1 dot right, and we're going to send it the angle we want to rotate to. So if I say rotate to 90, it should go approximately to 90 degrees, depending on where it started from. So again, we don't have to worry too much about how that's working. I'm then going to say delay 1000, and I know in the past lessons I've said don't use delays. This is just for testing things are working. I can now copy and paste these because I'm a little bit lazy like that. So now servo 1, I could just say go back to 0, and then get another delay. So that's really it. That's how we can code a servo. So if I just press start simulation, we can see nothing's happening. The program's running, but because there's no power getting to the servos, it doesn't know what to do. So now I can turn the power on, and nothing's working. Okay, it was working. I just got a breakpoint in, I'd not noticed. So there we go, I've pressed play, and now we can see the servo is rotating. It's going a little bit slow because we're in the browser version and I'm running OBS for recording, and it's slowing it down quite a bit. But we can see that's now working. So where can we go from this? And again, it's nice to practice in an area that is safe. If I want to add a second servo, you know, I can just copy and paste this one. And this is why I put it onto the breadboard rather than direct, because it's just a bit neater. You know, I can now connect this one up. I can connect that one up. Again, that's not very neat. Let's move that over. Oops, it's not liking that. But again, let's make that red. Let's make this one, oops, oh, I'm making mistakes. And this is why I say do it on breadboard, because the mistake I just made then could have burnt the servo out or the Arduino out just by a really clumsy oversight. So I'm going to put that to black. Now I'm going to do the last one, of course, which is the signal wire. So if I just connect the signal wire sort of down here, we'll make that one orange. And again, I could now go to pin 5. So if I just bring that down here, sort of all the way along, hook this one up. And of course, when I press play, this won't actually work. I'd need to nip into the code, but a quick little bit of copy and paste. I want servo 2. I can come down here, copy and paste. Servo, what are we on? Servo 5. Yep, it's on pin 5 for this one. Copy and paste this again. Oops. Copy, paste. And this time I'll just do servo 2. Servo 2. The downside to this is when you turn your program on for the first time, you might not know where your servos are. So it's probably a good idea to start your program and initialize them to the right value, and then at the end of your program set them back to the starting point, if that makes sense. And I'll probably cover that in a future video anyway. Okay, so I've got servo 1, servo 2. Oops, forgot to change that, servo 2. So now let's just press play. We should see both servos now working. So they're working kind of simultaneously. I wasn't expecting it to do that in the code. Oh, I see, because it initialized by itself. That's fine. So now it's going really slow again because I'm running OBS to record and the browser. We should now see that. Yeah, there we go. It's slowly working. Okay, that's where I'm going to end lesson 1 of servos. And in part 2 of servos, we'll be looking at the real things and control them from an ESP. So if you found this video useful, please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.